போட்டுக்குது சாயங்காலம் நேரத்துல போட்டு முதல்ல வந்து
Okay, I think we can start while the others join. So first, I'd like to welcome you all to this masterclass in oncotherapy. And we have our speakers today, Dr. Pranjalika Vatakuru. Ma'am, welcome. Hello. I hope I'm audible. All right, great. So let me introduce to you our speaker for today, Dr. Pravalika Vatikuru. She's a PharmD graduate with residency in oncology. She has gained specialized expertise in oncology pharmacotherapy. She was awarded the prestigious Persevere Union Charitable Trust Gold Medal for her outstanding academic achievements. With extensive experience as an oncology clinical pharmacist, she has played a key role in implementing standard practices, reducing medication errors, and improving patient outcomes through compassionate care for cancer patients. She has trained both national and international students, educated nursing staff, and mentored interns and professionals in oncology clinical pharmacy. She was a former assistant professor in pharmacy practice. She has been invited as speaker, panelist, and judge at various conferences and has delivered insightful online lectures on oncology. Dr. Pravalika serves as the head of clinical pharmacology and clinical assistance in oncology at KIM's Hospital, Gurgaon currently. As part of the medical team, she has contributed to successful stem cell transplantation and CAR T cell therapy, further enhancing patient care in medical oncology, hematology, and bone marrow transplantation. Uh, I'm sure most of you are aware of her, but we have few members, so I thought we would introduce ma'am again to the newer students who have joined us today. Ma'am, welcome, and we are so happy to have you with us today. I think there would be no one better who could take this lecture other than you. Thank you for the joining.
Thank you, Samriddhi, for the good introduction. And good evening, everyone. Here I am today to take you a master class on Foundations of Oncology Clinical Pharmacy. So prior to that, let me know how many of you have been to oncology wards or how many of you been exposed to oncology care. Can you please reply me in chat box? Please don't switch on your mics. Am I audible, guys?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay. Okay, how many have you been? Like, let me know how many of you from family background, sixth year, fifth year, fourth year. Okay, fifth year. Okay, guys. Happy to hear all this. And let me know prior to I start the masterclass, let me know with what expectation you have joined this class. What you would like to know, what you would like to learn at the end of the session so that I'll not miss out anything. Ensure that I'll let you know all that stuff. Can you please type in the chat box? to get detailed information and updated treatment of oncology drugs. I need to know how to choose the regimen, diagnose based like Novisara, how a clinical pharmacist plays a role in cancer oncology therapeutic. Okay, guys. With no delay, let's start the class. Okay. Before, see, you would know so many roles and responsibilities of clinical pharmacist. So, I would like to ask you guys, can you tell me the roles and responsibilities of a clinical pharmacist, irrespective of whichever department you are working? Okay, guys, I've seen so many expectations from so many people, and the ample of time we have is around 90 minutes. I may not be able to provide you with the complete information, but I will give an overall idea of what all the questions that have been raised, and I'll try to fulfill all your expectations and reach your expectations. And the end of the session will leave you 15 minutes wherein which you can ask me any questions that I will answer you guys. Okay? So, don't expect so much from my presentation. If you want an answer for all your questions, you should listen to me throughout this class. Okay? Are you ready? If that is the deal, you will get an answer for all your questions. Don't expect everything in the presentation. You need more than 1,000 slides if I should answer all your questions in the form of PPT. Okay? Okay, you didn't answer me. What are the roles and responsibilities of a clinical pharmacist? Before we start off. What is the roles and responsibilities? Patient counseling, monitoring. Okay, guys. Now, forget chat box for some time. Be very attentive. We'll start the class, okay? See, by the end of this module or by the end of this session, you will be able to understand the principles of cancer biology and its implications for pharmacotherapy. I mean, module here is the course that is going to be started soon. And here I'll brief you about everything and what will be covered in the course. And you will get a brief idea after the class on how an oncology clinical pharmacist goes about in the wards and finishes his day. Okay. And identify and manage common adverse drug reactions associated with this oncology medications or anti-cancer therapy medications, and how to optimize patient care through evidence-based therapeutic strategies and personalized medicine in oncology, and apply clinical pharmacy skills in managing drug-drug interactions and polypharmacy in cancer patients. Okay. Can you see two pictures over here? The picture 1 and the picture 2. You can see something, a person is stepped on this run machine. So, see, there's so many girls, there's so many guys. Nowadays, the trend is having different hairstyles. Every month you go cut your hair, girls chop your nails, put different kinds of nail polish, and guys go and have a nice beard, different shapes and all. Will you cut your beard if it's not growing? And girls, if you will cut your hair if it's not growing, tell me yes or no. If it's not growing, you will not cut, right? You will not shape your beard, right? Okay, very good. Next one. Just think, okay, it's all related to cancer. I will explain you how. The next one is like you want to drive bike, you want to show off, you'll go very speed, somewhere in ORR and all, you'll get hurt. What do you think? I'll not tell anyone, I'll chill out for a few days. It will get recovered. Yes or no? The wound which has occurred or what you have hurt on your hand or legs will recover soon. Yes or no? You'll get back your skin. Yes or no? Will you get back your skin or not? Yes. You have not taken, proper hydration for long time. There is something reddishness in your mucoside, that mucosa of your oral mucosa. When you take back good fluids, coconut water, water, folate, and all this, will it get back to normal or not? Yes, right? Yes or no? Okay. Every day you know that cells will be dividing continuously. Since a egg will meet the sperm from that stage when it starts in the mother's womb, after you come out and you become old, till that day, there will be division of cells. Yes or no? So, division of cells, there is growth, there is repair, everything is happening. Whatever cells are, whatever means, whatever is born will have to die. So, whenever a new cell is coming, it will have to die. That is what the theory. There is no permanent living nature to anything. Whatever has to come, whatever will be born will die, whether it is a cell, human, tree, irrespective of anything. Nothing is permanent. Okay. So there will be continuous growth. You have seen your hair is growing, your skin is dividing, your mucosa, everything, your nails are growing, your cutting, everything is very good. But will your liver grow continuously? Tell me yes or no. Will your liver grow continuously? Yes. If your liver grows continuously, you will not have a proper shape and zero figure or a good handsomeness or six pack. It does not grow. But when a person receives a liver transplant, when a person receives a liver transplant, will there will be the growth of liver or not? Yes, it regenerates. Kirti, very good. It regenerates. Means there will be a growth until it becomes complete. But later it will stop. Okay. Another question. There is some damage to your myocytes of the heart or neuronal cells of the brain. Will there be growth? Will your brain grow continuously? No. But you can stop the further damage. But you cannot reverse the damage what happened to either brain or the heart. When there is a left ventricular ejection fraction decrease, you can only stop it there, but it cannot be completely reversed. So there are three types of cells, they're called as labile cells, stable cells, and permanent cells in our body. So what are these labile cells? Labile cells are nothing but our body cells which are continuously in division. As in when there is damage, it gets repaired. The stable cells nothing but something of liver cells. When they really required to grow, they will divide. They are something called as permanent cells. They are called as brain cells, heart cells, all this. Once there is a damage, they will not grow continuously, but in the myocardium, the proteins will be going and then there will be strengthening of the myocytes, but there will be no division of the myocytes. Heart will not grow big. Only the size, the number of cells will not increase. Even the brain cells, there will be continuously connections will be increasing in the brain. But neurons will not divide and become one neuron becoming two neuron. That concept is not there. And in case of blood cells, okay, there will be no division of blood cells, but there will be production of blood cells from the stem cells from the precursor cells. Okay. And when new blood cells, when the after the lifespan, when RBC, WBC, they die, again new blood cells will be produced from the bone marrow, from the stem cells, when there will be stimulation of this bone marrow. Okay, you understood? That's how there is a growth of cells or division of cells. Okay, guys, have this concept in your mind. Okay, now you understood, right? Now there is two pictures here, picture 1 and picture 2. What is step on to run machine? And there's something, there is a production. When that person is not there, it is not there. Can anybody tell me, guys? What does first picture mean? What did you understand by that first picture? Heart cells regenerative transplant happened. Who will do brain transplant, dear? Heart cells, it's not regeneration. The organ transplantation is different from the regeneration. Liver will regenerate, not the heart and brain. Come on, anybody understood the first picture? See, what is this is, there's normal cells. The first picture, you can see normal and normal. What is a step on to run machine and step on to run machine? Here the person is standing on the run machine. It means there is a stimulus that the cell have to divide. So when it is normal growth signals are there, this is the normal function of the cells or the normal function of the body. Okay, when there is some signal, when there is some stimulation, there is division. When there is no stimulation, there is no further division. This is the characteristic of normal cells. So I'm just showing it to you through these pictures. Okay. So what happens in cancer is it's completely opposite. Okay. You can see here. See, it's continuously on even without the growth signals. And there is continuous production of the cells. That is cancer. Here it is escaping the growth signals. It is not having any limitation. So there is continuous production of these waste cells. These don't have any proper function. You know, it's similarly like a baby which grows in the womb, which is not completely developed, comes out. It cannot perform any functions. It cannot function as a normal living organism, but it always have a defect and you always have the problems in life. In similarly, the cells also have the same characteristic wherein which these are all useless cells. These are not the complete cells. They have some defect in them. Okay. We know something called as cell cycle and there's something called as cell cycle checkpoints. Checkpoints are like, like traffic police stops you at signals, or there is one when you're doing state to state transfer, there is, the checkpoints, check post. Okay, when you're carrying goods, see, when you're coming from Goa, the liquor is free. You carry 2-3 bottles. If you carry a box of bottles, there's someone to stop at the checkpost. Similar way, when the cell is dividing and it has, see, the risk factors of cancer. There is radiation, there is some DNA damage due to any other cause. If there is something that happens to the cell, it is stopped at the checkpoint, it is repaired and then send it to the next phase of the cell cycle to ensure a proper cell is going for a cell division. And if there is any mutation, okay, if there is any mutation at that point, the abnormal cells will start producing when your checkpoint is not functioning properly, or there is no security guard at the checkpost and nobody will be there to check what is being transferred from one state to another. You can escape the board and come, okay? Similar way, the cells also will undergo cell cycle through escape when there is no proper functioning of these cell cycle checkpoints. Are you clear with this concept? Tell me yes or no. Very good. So, This is continuously on. There is no proper start and stop for these cancer cells. Okay. And another thing, you will be getting doubt, ma'am, antimicrobial chemotherapy and is also, cancer chemotherapy. I'll tell you the difference. Antimicrobial chemotherapy is nothing but when an external agents enter your body and there is multiplication of that organism continuously, and then you are giving externally medication to kill that organism is an antimicrobial chemotherapy. That is why you will see only the side effects that is related to little bit of gastrointestinal tract or minute side effects. But when you talk about cancer chemotherapy, the multiplication of the cells is not that something that has come to your body from the external agent or some externally it has entered your body. It's nothing but your own cells that kept on multiplying, which are out of control and which are mutated, which are non-functional and which are useless. And you are killing cells which are your own body cells. And for both the normal cells and for cancer cells, the unique character is multiplication, continuous multiplication. That is the reason you will see so many adverse effects that will be faced because of this administration of chemotherapeutic drugs. You are administering chemotherapeutic drugs with a funda to kill those unnecessary produced cancer cells. Since the character of normal cells and cancer cells is same, that is division, continuous division, you will see that drugs not only act on cancer cells, they also act on rapidly dividing normal cells. That is why you will see hair fall, oral mucositis, GI related effects, all these effects very commonly in all the cancer patients receiving these medications. Okay, are you clear with this concept? Why there are those adverse effects? Yes or no? Yes. Very good. Okay. You should understand this concept very well if you should understand how to act or how to work in an oncology setting. Another question. When you see, you will see even the effects of liver, kidney, all this. And bone marrow also continuously dividing. So you will say, when I ask you about adverse effects of cancer drugs, you will say bone marrow suppression, vomiting, loose stools, hair fall, changes in skin, nail changes, all this. Along with that, you will have decline in liver and kidney function in some patients who cannot tolerate, but that will not be immediately seen. That is elevation of serum creatinine and changes in bilirubin levels. You will not see immediately in any patient. You will see with when you receive multiple number of cycles per se. Okay, are you clear with this concept also? Yes or no? Okay. Guys, don't confuse between increase in size of the cell and division of the cells, okay? They are called as permanent cells. Please go through that concept of stable cells, labile cells, and permanent cells. Okay? Now, so much in depth I cannot explain. Please go through, but I'll give you the insights. Okay? You will understand the concept. See here, when you go to pub, okay, the party is full. What is that? Do they allow you inside? They don't allow. Correct or not? Yes or no? Do they allow? When the party is full and something is full, will they allow you inside? So, see, normal cells will stop reproducing when they are told to do so. Okay. This prevents cells from crowding each other or piling up. But when you see these idiots cancer cells, they ignore the stop signals and continue to reproduce. This leads to crowding and cell piling upon each other. Now you understood the difference, guys? Yes. Okay. So what is neoplasm or cancer or tumor? It's a mass of tissue formed as a result of abnormal, excessive, uncoordinated, autonomous, purposeless proliferation of cells even after cessation of stimulus for growth which caused it. Okay. Even if you stop the stimulus, still it will show growth. And the branch of science that deals with the study of neoplasms or tumors is called as oncology. Okay. You can see these points. Cancer can occur in any cells in the body. Sometimes you hear tumors being referred to as malignant or benign. So usually when you call it as cancer is when it is a malignant tumor. So you can see something here. It's something like a crab. So this is the primary tumor. And you can see the, this legs of the crab showing different systems of human body. Integumentary, muscular. This is nothing but from the primary tumor. When the cancer spreads throughout the body, it is called as metastasis. There is something called as good pipeline network of your blood vessels supplying oxygen to all the parts of the body. Correct or not? So when the blood vessels are in intact position, all the oxygen is properly delivered and it is required by the normal cells for their growth. Even cancer cells require oxygen. But you know what is happening to these blood vessels? There is some damage or there's some repair. But usually when these normal blood cells, they get repaired. When in cancer, what will happen? There will be damage to these blood vessels or pipes. Call it as, when a pipeline is connected to a tank. When there is some leakage or something, what will happen? Cancer cells can easily enter those leakage and then they can spread to other organs. Okay. That is what happens with cancer cells. And they spread to lymphatic system, through blood, through coelomic cavities. They go. When they'll go, when there is some breakage in the primary tumor. What is this primary tumor? Primary tumor is nothing but the tumor of origin where the types of cells have been growing. And when these tumor cells will go to different organs and they sit there and they start growing, some of you should get a doubt, whether it is a lung cancer or a stomach cancer, ma'am. Whether it's a breast cancer or a lung cancer. You are finding, when you do a PET CT, you are finding cancer is present in lungs, cancer is present in breast also. How would you tell whether it is a breast cancer or a lung cancer? You should be getting a doubt, right? It is there in liver, it is there in kidney, it is there in lungs, it is there in breast. Which cancer it is? How do you tell which is primary origin? So when you take a biopsy or sample, when you see the cell structure, you will see which tissue it is. See the breast tissue, you know how it is. So when you see the cancer cell that has gone and multiplied, that is of breast cell. So the primary tumor will be the breast tumor of breast cancer. The other one is the metastasized cancer. Okay, that's how you say. There's something called as metastasis of unknown origin. Means you cannot detect which is the primary tumor from where the cancer has come from, but it has come and it started multiplying in multiple organs. Such cancers are called as metastasis of unknown origin. You don't know the origin of the cells, but there is metastasis to different organs. Okay, are you clear till here, guys? Yes, you take the biopsy. There are so many tests that will be done to examine the cells. Okay. Okay, you're clear till here. With the next one. You see, single mutation will never cause cancer. Okay. Normal cells, first mutation, second mutation, third. When multiple mutations hit the cells, there is loss of the growth controls of the cells. It starts multiplying. Always single mutation will not cause cancer. It will get repaired and then it will go to the next phase of the cell cycle. Okay. This is how it is. multiple mutation hit the cells, then it will lead to cancer when you lose your immunity or your fighting capacity against the cells. You can see a normal morphology and cytomorphology of cancer cell. This is a normal cell. You can see the basal polarity, no pleomorphism, nucleic cytoplasmic ratio, anisonucleosis, all these things. These are nothing but how many changes. See, it's like this, There's one guy. I always don't want to sell guy or a girl, anyone, or a child, okay? Initially, what happens? Like he want to eat some pani puri, his mother does not allow him to go out and have. What he does, he steals money from his mom's purse, go out and have, enjoy his friends. That's very nice. It's one single bad habit. So mom cannot recognize whether my son is going in a wrong way or not with single thing. Okay, chalo beta. Okay. She doesn't know. Later what happens? She starts getting complaints from the colleagues in school. Different complaints. So she will think, okay, something my son is stepping in a wrong track. Then neighbors, everyone starts complaining, multiple complaints, multiple changes. Okay. Then the intensity or the level of him losing the track is high. So your mother could recognize how he was few months back and how he is after 5 to 6 months. So the difference is recognized. In the similar way, when you take a biopsy or when you observe a slide under a microscope, the changes that have occurred in the certain types of cell is high. What are the different types of changes that can happen are all these 10 changes of aneuploidy, increased mucin. So in how many number means how much changes you could see, how much difference you could observe between a normal cell and a cancer cell, the intensity of change, how you could distinguish that both very clearly, that you have by seeing itself you can tell this is normal cell, this is cancer cell. If it is very less changes, they both look like normal cells. That is called as differentiation or anaplasia. The degree of similarity between two cells is called as anaplasia. Okay. It is like identifying two twins who are very similar with a normal single mole change on the chin or something you can identify. It does not make much difference, but you could make many changes in two different twins. You can clearly differentiate. Means the difference is high means the cancer, the level of changes is very high. Okay. That is how you will grade the cancer. That is moderately differentiated, well differentiated, highly differentiated. Okay. That is poorly differentiated. Poorly differentiated means there is high degree of change. The score 1 out of 10 is very high. Okay. Are you clear till here? Yes or no? Okay. Now you will be getting doubt. Ma'am, what is this sarcoma? What is this carcinoma? Okay, that also I will tell you. See, too much if I put in your brains, it will not go. Remember another thing, there is something called as cancer stem cells. Okay. There is something called as self-renewal. Okay. So, this is cancer cell and this is cancer stem cells. So, cancer stem cells, they can continuously reproduce. You are giving anti-cancer drugs to kill the cancer cells. Okay. But cancer stem cells are not killed. That is the reason you will be seeing relapse in cancer patients. That is why nowadays research is focusing not on developing the drugs to kill the cancer cells, but their funda is to kill the cancer stem cells, which are responsible for relapse. That is why you see many people will go for cure. After 6 months, they come back. Why are they coming back? Because their cancer stem cells are getting active and again cancer is coming because the characteristic of cancer stem cells is self-renewal. Okay. And they have so much of resistance to drugs, radiation, and stress. Okay. Did you understand, guys, why there is relapse? Reoccurrence, relapse. Okay. Akanksha, please do understand it's madam and not sir who is teaching you, taking your class. Hope you are attentive. So, what is the topic of research? If you want to go for research in cancer, one topic is cancer stem cells eradication. Okay. So the next one is there's something called as molecular hallmarks of cancer. Have you guys heard of this? If you're in third form D and all, the fourth chapter in Harsh Mohan pathophysiology, you would have read this. Okay. And you know, cancer is a complex disease which is characterized by uncontrolled cell growth and proliferation. In cancer, what happens? The genes that control these normal cellular growth are altered by mutations. So, and these cancer associated genes have a specific function in cell growth, which are common in many tumors, like P53 gene, TP53 gene, all this, while others are specific to only some tumors. Okay. And correlation of role of cancer related genes with regard to function in normal cellular growth. And this genetic basis of cancer includes so many major genetic properties. Those are nothing but molecular hallmarks of cancer. Okay. So these hallmarks will define these cancer cells. Okay. This excessive and autonomous growth. So these all are the characteristics that you will see because of the molecular changes that are happening genetically in the cells. Okay, those are nothing but molecular hallmarks of cancer, which will be discussed in detail in the pathogenesis of cancer. Okay, till now you have seen so many concepts of, like little bit in oncology, that multiple mutation. Now I will just brush you up with few things, okay? Just remember about the stable cells, labile cells and permanent cells. That, and you will have so much of effect on the bone marrow and also kidney and liver, because liver is detoxifying the drug and then kidney is eliminating the drug, and blood cells are required to take to the oxygen, or you need sufficient amount of blood in your body to carry the drug throughout the body. Okay, remember these concepts, and also remember that single mutation will not cause cancer. There are multiple risk factors, and you will see so many adverse effects related to cancer treatments. And you see there's so many varieties of cancer treatments. The primary one is the surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, targeted therapy, immunotherapy, hormonal therapy, precision medicine, combination treatments, that is radiation plus chemotherapy, and the emerging CAR T cell therapy, gene editing and nanotechnology and stem cell transplants. Okay. So when you are working in an oncology setting, you should know what are the different types of treatments that are available. Okay, Sardar, there is something called as curative, palliative, okay, adjuvant, neoadjuvant. So whenever you are choosing, so this is what are different types of cancer treatments. So before you understand, okay, how to work in oncology settings, you should understand the workflow in oncology. I will explain you, I'll share you with a document, you can see that, okay? And I'll clearly explain you through that how things happen in oncology, okay? Can you see this document, guys? Yes or no? Patient treatment pathway. Yes, okay. Let me see what happens. A patient is diagnosed and referred to the oncologist and the multidisciplinary team. What does it mean? There is no some symptoms or something as such to diagnose cancer, okay? Unless for some breast cancer, you find lump, you get diagnosed. Some people have some problem with their stomach issue and they're not able to eat properly, loss of appetite. They go and they get their endoscopy done in there. Then what happens? The small piece is sent, a biopsy sample is sent for the examination and you get. So it is by chance it happens. Nobody goes and tells, okay, I have cancer, I have these symptoms, you have cancer. Most of the time, cancer is diagnosed in the advanced stages and without symptoms. Okay. As in when you go and for some visit to a doctor or something. Okay. Then what will happen based on the reports or something for further evaluation and workup, the patient is sent to an oncologist. Okay. Suggested to meet an oncologist or have a consultation with the oncologist or the multidisciplinary team. An oncologist or the multidisciplinary team assessment and decision on appropriate treatment options. Why everywhere, ma'am, you're telling multidisciplinary team and all? In cancer, it's not single person who treats a patient. It's multiple multidisciplinary team. We will see who are all there in the multidisciplinary team. I will show it to you. The next one is, so after assessing, after checking the patients, after the diagnosis, okay? Means there's so many different tests that the patient will have to undergo depending on the type of cancer that he is getting diagnosed with and the complaints he has come with and the staging of cancer and depending on what all is required to start the treatment. Okay. Till here, a clinical pharmacist will not have any role. Okay. The oncologist will decide upon the diagnosis of the patient and there will be so many treatment options for the patient. Just not giving the best treatment to the patient. When you're deciding cancer treatments, you will have to give an option to the patient to choose his treatment. You cannot tell, ma'am, how can we tell patient to choose the treatment? No, you will have to give an option to the patient to choose his own treatments because everything is, India is a developing country and everything is not affordable by everyone in the treatment process. Okay. So you will have multiple treatment options and based on whether, means you will give the treatments to the patient, means the options are all can be given to the patient. There are some additional drugs like immunotherapy that can be added on, but it is not provided free in case of many health schemes. Okay. So based on that or based on the scheme or what he adopts, the patient will choose the option based on affordability also. Okay. And people who cannot afford can be enrolled into clinical trials wherein which the patients will be getting free treatments for cancer. You can see like Arogya Shri, you can see, some treatments are free and some in Tata Memorial and all, if you go, they will enroll you there and give you free treatments. Okay. And many government hospital, the treatments are free. But you may not get all drugs for free because all are not generic. And after discussing the treatment options regarding the benefits, side effects, which will have what kind of effect or what is the cure rate, everything in detail about the treatments will be discussed by an oncologist with the patient. After that, if the patient adopts or chooses to have a treatment for his cancer, they will obtain a consent form from the patient because why do you need a consent form in case of oncology when you're delivering a treatment to a patient? So it's a right of a patient to know what is his treatment, not only and these uh, anti-cancer drugs are narrow therapeutic index drugs and they're high alert medication. Then they have genotoxicity and all this, your toxicity on fetus, you have, multiple toxicities are there with these anti-cancer drugs. And you cannot give as you wish a treatment to a patient without obtaining a consent from him. And you have to explain him how the treatment will be given, the duration, number of cycles, like what are the potential side effects, what are the specific side effects, what is the cure rate, and the confidentiality should be explained regarding his treatment, that it will not be discussed with anyone. And after obtaining all this, you will have to obtain a consent from the patient. Okay, there is something called as chemotherapy consent form. Guys, please remind me, I'll have to show you the parts of a multidisciplinary team and also a consent form. How does it look and what are the components of a consent form? Next one is nothing but chemotherapy prescription. So oncologist will prescribe a treatment regimen to a patient. So here, just because you see, when you see some, antihypertensives or some medications, you will take and you will find some side effects, you will stop the drug and you will have an alternate option. In case of cancer treatments, you will not have that one. You will have to manage the side effects and you have to alter the dose. In case of when the patient in extreme conditions cannot tolerate the regimen with severe side effects, then only you will go for an alternate option. Ma'am, how do you choose? Somebody asked me, how do you choose a treatment for a patient in cancer? See, there is something called as NCCN guidelines. If you know to interpret those guidelines, there is something called as guidelines for patients and there is something called as guidelines for clinicians. So when you start with specific type of cancer, how diagnosis happens, based on which reports you will decide on which treatments. If does not work, what will be the next option? It is all through the NCCN guidelines that will be followed in almost all the countries and little bit modified based on the effects or that genetic mutations or the genetics of the people in different countries. You see them G6PD mutations you will be finding in so much of South Africans. If you have read it in this biochemistry first year, you will see that malaria, the mosquitoes will not bite to those people because G6PD deficiency, they'll not have any, malaria, getting malaria or something. The similarly, there's some drugs called as 5FU and all. If they have G6PD deficiency, the dose of the drugs will be very minimal, or they will not opt for 5-fluorouracil in those patients because it cannot metabolize and get excreted. Okay, except that different, like few exceptions, NCCN guidelines are followed for the patients for the treatment decisions. Okay, I think somebody's doubt is there. I think it's clarified. After the chemotherapy prescription is given, you know that there more chance of vomiting, nausea, and all the different types of vomiting that you will have to know. Delayed vomiting more than 24 hours, and during the treatment, before the treatment, psychologically also, they'll fix their mind that I'm getting vomiting. So what kind of, though you will be giving pre-medications, for what you will be to prevent vomiting, to prevent any hypersensitivity reactions, you will be giving pre-medications to the patient and then start with the chemotherapy. Sometimes you hydrate the patient. First of all, whether the patient is eligible for chemotherapy or not, you will have to check. Somebody was telling, the intention of chemotherapy, okay? Curative regimen, palliative or salvage chemotherapy, what you are giving? You are giving the chemotherapy with the intention of curation, the complete cure, or you are giving, just to salvage chemotherapy or palliative chemotherapy, means just to stop the, further production of cancer cells, or just to improve the quality of life of the patient. For what is the intent of chemotherapy, that you need to know. Based on the dosages are decided based on the comorbidities of the patients, performance status of the patients. Performance status means there's something called as ECOG performance status, Kanfosky scale. And based on this, you will decide whether the patient is eligible for chemotherapy. See, when you go and see ECOG 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will find, you can see there. You can just search on the net, ECOG performance status. So whether the patient is actively during his lifestyle or not, whether he is bedridden, whether can he perform his daily activities or not. Based on all this, you will choose treatments for the cancer patient and based on their liver and kidney function also. Okay. So once the regimen is given to the patient, there comes your role. So you will have to do dosage calculations. You will have to explain the patient how the chemotherapy is given. See, explain the patient means it's all will be in the consent process, that physician will usually explain the outcomes, the possible chances of cure and all that. And you will, as a clinical pharmacist, will have to tell them how it will be given, whether it will be given IV through PICC lines or central lines or chemo pods. For which chemotherapy you will have to suggest a patient with port, PICC line, and depending on the veins, all these things you will have to give counsel and explain them whether you are giving a metronomic chemotherapy or a oral chemotherapy. Okay, or you're giving an IV or you're giving subcutaneous, which route of administration, what would be the possible side effects of the therapy, and with respect to drug also, side effects will change. Okay, all that you will have to explain, and you have to tell them that they'll be prescribed with the medications during discharge for all this. Okay. Next, after the chemotherapy, you'll have to prepare a chemotherapy for the patient. That is another concept. So for that, you will have to know how a clinical pharmacist will have to take protection from the exposure to chemotherapeutic drugs. See, when you will be inhaling the drugs preparation, so what are the standards for the preparation of chemotherapy? How it should be prepared? Everything you will have to know. For that, you need to be very quick in dosage calculation. You should know what kind of attire you should wear, why you should wear, what kind of clothing, what kind of gloves. In detail, you will be learning in chemotherapy preparation. That is a very big concept. And when you want to prepare a drug, so whether you are there's something called as azacitidine. You will give it in oral or sorry, you will give it in oral, you will give it in IV, you will give it in subcutaneous. So IV dilution is different, subcutaneous dilution is different. Okay, you will have to know in how much you will have to reconstitute. So when you are preparing, some are in powder form, some are in liquid form. When you're doing powder form, whether it is in salt form or whether it is in this lyophilized powders. So what is the lyophilized powders, how will you have to reconstitute? Whether you cannot directly inject the diluent into that, it will start forming a foam. So you should understand that. That all you will be learning in the chemotherapy preparation module. Next one is something called as pre-chemo patient education and assessment. Usually a nurse does that, and you will have to explain when you start of chemotherapy to a patient how to manage. So suppose in case he feels any hypersensitivity reactions, you'll have to explain the symptoms, that what they will be observing when you start the chemotherapy when he's going to face a drug reaction. So you have to explain, is there any breathlessness, rash, difficulty in breathing, throat choking, itching, and lightheadedness, anything that he will observe during the start of chemotherapy, the patient will have to stop the infusion immediately. That should be explained and counsel to the patient in detail for each chemotherapy during the cycle 1, so that they will remember it during their subsequent cycles. So once the prescription is checked, How do you check a prescription? Have you all done a OP audit and IP audits? Are you clear till here, guys? Or you are sleeping? If you are sleeping, good morning. Are you all awake? Okay, very good. Okay, clear, and happy to hear that. So when you're doing some audit, how will you do an audit? You need some standard, right? You need a standard against which you will do an audit. If I just tell you, go do audit, what will you go and see in prescription? Ma'am, this prescription has this has this does not have this. How will you tell? You need a standard wherein which you need to have all the parameters that you should know, that against which you should check. So I will show you something, okay? Just wait. 1 second, guys. For example, 1 second. See, this is all which I have made as an educational material that I am sharing, okay? For example, for you people to understand, there's something called as checklist for chemotherapy order. Here, in chemotherapy, you don't call it as an anti-cancer prescription, is called as chemotherapy order. See, now I give you all these components. Okay, I'll tell you patient name, 2 other unique identifiers like hospital number, date of birth, patient height, weight, BSA, diagnosis, protocol name, cycle number, all these are there. These all are the standard things that should be present in a chemotherapy order sheet. Okay. Now I'll tell you, I'll call, one of you, let me see the names randomly. Swati, Himavarshini, Akibu, Anirudh, Anusha, Deepa, Smriti. I call all of you and I tell, go do this chemotherapy prescription audit for a chemotherapy order. Now what will happen? You'll all have the print of this chemotherapy order checklist. You go and if I give you 100 prescriptions, can you people easily tell what is present in a prescription, what is not present in a prescription? Does it make your work easy or not? Akanksha, audit means nothing. You have a checklist, you have to verify that. Yes or no? As a clinical pharmacist, you should know. So these are all things you need to learn what used to be there. These all will not be provided anywhere. These all are the things as an education you will be learning and part of your work you will be performing. Clear, right? This is what you do in a medication chart review and all this, and you calculate the doses and check. So are you clear? And you were finding something called as BSA. BSA is nothing but body surface area. There will be a weight loss because of loss of appetite and vomiting and all this. So every cycle to cycle, most of the anti-cancer drugs are calculated based on their body surface area, some of them body weight. Okay, something called as loading dose, maintenance dose, all this. All this, where will you learn? When you know BSA. When there is change in weight, there is change in BSA. More than 5 kg, there is change in BSA and you need to modify the doses for the patients. Okay? Or else they will cause, that even a small change in dose, the narrow therapeutic index drugs, even a small change in dose will cause severe adverse effects. Are you clear, guys? So again, what else you will be learning in the course? See, there's something called as, here you can see diluents volume rate of administration. So you should know what is the compatibility of the drug in which it can be diluted. Normal saline, dextrose, all this you will be learning as a part of preparation of chemotherapy. And you can see something called as dose modifications for the patients according to laboratory result and side effects. If you people remember in the starting of the class, I told you there will be so much of side effects on bone marrow. You will be seeing changes in blood counts. Okay. And your blood count start falling and then it will start raising. There is something called as nadir period. Nadir is nothing but 10 to 14 days after you give the chemotherapy to a patient. That is the reason the least amount of blood counts that you will be seeing after giving chemotherapy is between 10 to 14 days, and by 21st day it will start raising. So most of the cycles are 3 weekly cycles, weekly cycles, and then 1 monthly cycles. In 1 month you give 4 times in multiple myeloma patients, and you see in breast cancer and all, when you see AC regimen and all given 3 weekly. There's something called as in cervical cancer, you see paclitaxel regimen given weekly. That is nothing but as dose dense chemotherapy. Okay, dose intense and dose dense chemotherapy. And there's something called as metronomic chemotherapy. It's nothing but oral chemotherapy that you maintain the chemotherapy in palliative care settings at home. Okay, are you clear till here, guys? See, there's so much in detail you need to learn, but you will only learn when you completely attend a topic. Hope you're clear with this. And there's something called a sequence of drug administration. You should get out, ma'am, what is the sequence of drug administration? When you see, paclitaxel regimen, there's something called as paclitaxel and there is something called as carboplatin. Similarly, like, narrow therapeutic, narrow spectrum antibiotic and broad spectrum antibiotic. When you are seeing, you are having a blood culture growth of gram-positive bacteria and also gram-negative bacteria and spirochetes, pseudomonas, all this stuff. So you need to give a broad spectrum antibiotic to a patient. And you need to also give a narrow spectrum antibiotic to a patient. I'm telling for example, please don't take it as a concept. So if you are giving a drug which is killing everything, a broad spectrum antibiotic, it will kill both gram positive and also it will act on other gram negative and all these things. Okay. If you're giving that, and then after giving the drug in the sequence, if you're giving a drug that is killing only gram positive, what is the funda? It would have already destroyed some gram positive. So the effect would be less. Instead, when you give a gram positive against antibiotic first, and then you give a broad spectrum. So all the gram positive will be acted upon by this drug, a narrow spectrum. And then when you're giving broad spectrum, much will not go and act on gram positive because gram positive is already killed, or the static or citral, whatever it is. And then this broad spectrum will act on other bacteria, group of bacteria, and the effect would be more in a patient. Yes or no? Did you understand the concept? Okay. So when you're seeing paclitaxel, we usually will act on mitosis, Vinca alkaloids. When you see, it will act on a specific phase of cell cycle, paclitaxel. Carboplatin, it will act on all the phases of the cell cycle. So if you are giving a drug paclitaxel first, it will act on these cells which are continuously growing. In that phase of cell cycle, cancer cells, it will hit and it will kill the cells. And when you're giving carboplatin, it will go and act on all the different cells. So the effect on the tumor cells is more. And that is why the sequence of chemotherapy is important. And not only that thing, there is another concept for sequencing of chemotherapy, whether it is an extravasant drug. So which should be given first, at what dilution it should be given. Extravasant drugs cannot be infused to the patient for a longer time because it will go and see DNA binding, non-DNA binding agents. So many things are there. So you just can't infuse it for a long time. You have to give it in an IV push, or you have to give it slowly IV, and you have to run NS, and you have to flush the drug through the vein so that it won't cause any extravasation. So you'll learn all that concepts in that. Okay. Next one, I will show you some other thing, guys. So you can see here different types of cancer treatment. Adjuvant, neoadjuvant, nothing but adjuvant is when you're giving chemotherapy, when the patient is eligible for surgery and when it is not operable, the margins are not clear to operate, you will give adjuvant chemotherapy. You will shrink the tumor, you keep the clear borders and ensure that it is easily operable. You go for surgery and then you give neoadjuvant chemotherapy to the patient. Okay. But sometimes you give all the cycles first and then you go for surgery. Neoadjuvant means you are giving chemotherapy after surgery. Staging and grading is very much important to choose the treatment. Okay. And curative palliative I have told you. And patient treatment pathway also I have explained you. See, this is the multidisciplinary approach. You have an oncologist, radiologist, pathologist, clinical pharmacist, nurse, social worker, psychiatrist, patient navigators, physiotherapist, dietitian. Everybody is important in cancer treatment. Okay. So I told what is the medication chart? I told you what is the parts of a prescription. So chemotherapy order sheet. You want to see a chemotherapy order sheet? I will show you. Wait. See, guys. So you can see here what all I've explained. You see name, IP number, gender, age, date, height, weight, BSA, cycle number, which word, diagnosis, protocol. What is the protocol of the drug paclitaxel carboplatin? Blood test you have to see. Why you're doing blood test every time? I told you the blood counts are very, without having an absolute neutrophil count of 1500 cells, you cannot give chemotherapy to the patient. Bone marrow suppression is the primary thing. And when you don't have sufficient blood cells or WBC in your body, you are so much immunocompromised, you are more prone to infections. You die rather than with cancer with side effects. That's why blood tests need to be monitored, creatinine, because serum creatinine, why your drug is eliminating through kidney and your liver is, all the drugs are getting metabolized to liver. So you have to ensure your blood, your liver, your kidney is normal before starting chemotherapy. So you will have to see. There's something called as prehydration that you give before chemotherapy. Emetogenic risk is what is the chance of having vomiting. So which anti-emetic you will have to choose that act directly on the vomiting center in the brain, or a normal that will act on the GI, H1 receptor antagonist. All this is sufficient or not, you will have to know based on the emetogenic potential. Okay. of the chemotherapy. What kind of pre-medications to add on depends on that. Okay. And chemotherapy orders and post-hydration. Post-hydration is usually there for the, like oxaliplatin, cisplatin, and all this. You give mannitol for oxaliplatin to prevent neuropathy and cisplatin to prevent kidney toxicity. Okay. I think you are clear till here. Yes or no? Tell me, guys. If I don't get response, I will not take class. Yes or no? Yes. So, there is another big concept of adverse effects. This is how a pre-medication, chemotherapy, and all this looks. Sorry. So here you have chemotherapy, how you will have to give, why you should keep it ready, why there is hypersensitivity reaction, what comes. You can see everything is there. Injection, paclitaxel, how much mg in 500 ml NS, IV over 3 hours, use Codonset back-to-back. Why you are telling Codonset for paclitaxel? It's an instruction because chromophore is a diluent that is present in paclitaxel. When chromophore, that plastic pipes, it contains something called as PVC, and there is something called as diethyl hexyl phthalate, which is added to this PVC to make the plastic very soft. That's how your NS bottles are made. So this chromophore will react with this DHP component and it will form a chelating complexes with the drug. And when that will go into your bloodstream, it will cause hypersensitivity reactions in a patient. So where you're seeing something called as non-DHP material, wherein which that is not present, and it's something packet type polyvinyl it is made up of, and that will not cause any reaction. It's not a PVC. Okay. So that should be used for that drug because paclitaxel has a diluent. When you see the paclitaxel, it's the advanced formulation, does not have any chromophore. And you see docetaxel has something called as polysorbate 80. Even that do have a reaction. So that's why you don't use plastic bottles for infusion of these drugs. Okay. See, I told you about the administration of the drug. This is called as three-way technique, wherein which you will dilute the vincristine in very low volume. You will start an NS flow like this, and then in the running NS, you will inject so that the drug will not stay and the patient will not have any extravasation. Clear, guys? Okay. So considering all parameters, you'll have to choose right drug, right dose, route and frequency to provide the high quality care for the patients. I told you about this narrow therapeutic index concept. So here you will have to know about micrograms, conversion, teaspoon, tablespoon, all these things in details you'll be learning in dosage calculations. So we have a process for dosage calculations. You have to understand, interpret the prescription, convert units, calculate the dose, consider patient factors, verify calculations, prepare and administer and monitor for adverse effects. Okay, you calculate BSA using Mosteller formula. And see here, there's something called as IM/IV subcutaneous use. So when somebody indicates that you have to give bleomycin IM, how you will have to give? What is the dilution? Because it is a powder form. When it indicates IV, what is the dilution? What subcutaneous is? Somebody, physician prescribes you with IV and you are getting a formulation where, no, okay, sorry. If physician prescribes with you IM and when your pharmacy dispenses with you, you will have to cross check whether that formulation is meant for IM, IV and subcutaneous or not. Okay. And something called a single use vial. You cannot store the vial. Even if the dose is extra, you will have to discard. All these things as a clinical pharmacy, you will have to observe regarding the drugs. See here, we are counting a multi-dose vialing. Multi-dose means here you have something called as bacteriostatic water for injection to reconstitute this trastuzumab. Okay, and the shelf life is 28 days after you reconstitute. See here for IV use only, cisplatin. So you will have to see. You have to see the storage. Okay. See here. All these you will have to observe. Okay, the storage. Do not freeze away from light. There's so many things that you will learn. Please don't get antibiotics, dear, here. So, patient counseling. Patient counseling you will do at different steps. That is during the consenting. Before administration, you will have to tell about hypersensitivity reactions. During discharge, you will have to explain about the discharge medications to the patient on how to manage the side effects of chemotherapy, mainly for vomiting, like that gastric acid production, for pain. Those are the common side effects that you will be seeing. Sometimes you will be given, granulocyte stimulating factors, for adriamycin and the cyclophosphamide, you have so much of bone marrow suppression. So you will have to give colony stimulating factors for the patient like PEG GCSF and GCSF injections, and you will have to explain them about those. Can in follow-up, you will have to monitor side effects to the patient when it come for the subsequent cycles, and you have to find out about the adverse effects what he has faced during between the first cycle and the second cycle. You have to see whether there is a leukopenia, whether there is a anemia, whether there is a body pains, whether there is a constipation, whether there is a loose stools, how he managed, whether that medication was sufficient or not, whether he required any subsequent hospitalization between the cycles, how he was treated, whether that adverse effects were so severe that he required dosage adjustments during the second cycle. All that you will have to do, and you will have to document the adverse drug reactions for the patients, and you will learn about all this during the pharmacovigilance in oncology classes, and then you will see how you will have to document an adverse drug reaction for the patient. I think hope, and you see so many adverse effects. Chemo man, it doesn't look handsome with so much side effects. Okay, bleomycin will cause pulmonary fibrosis or pulmonary toxicity. Methotrexate will cause liver injury and kidney injury. When high dose methotrexate is given, you give lot of hydration to the patient to ensure your kidney is not in trouble. Vinca alkaloids, peripheral neuropathy. Okay, these are all like gemcitabine. You have constipation. Paclitaxel, you have so much of muscular pains, neuropathic pain. These are all very common side effects that you will be seeing. Using so much of hair fall with adriamycin, all these drugs, most of the anti-cancer drugs. Any questions, guys? I think I would give you, one thing or a certain amount of chemotherapy normal cell and make it up to. No, for oxaliplatin, you should never use normal saline. The chloride will form complexes and the patient will die. Oxaliplatin should be mixed only with the dextrose solution. I think, Shivani, you are clear. See, if somebody tell you give oxaliplatin in 500 ml, see, you can sometimes they will give you in lesser volume, also in more volume. There's something called as concentration range for each drug that can be administered to a patient. Suppose, ma'am, how can we get this PDF, please? What PDF you want? You can get all these in guidelines when you will have, see, all these I have prepared from the guidelines. Okay. And I cannot share you my personal documents and only for teaching purpose. Okay. Everything is there in guidelines. You will have to tailor it based on your setting. Okay. So when I take classes and all, I used to help students to do this by themselves by making them read guidelines. So all these you will be learning in the course during the classes, but in detail you will be learning. So when I take oncology, I can tell you each topic I can go for 3 to 4 hours. Packing material of NS will have an effect when the diluents or the drugs react with PVC. Yeah, for anybody you can use dextrose. For diabetic patients also you can use dextrose. It does not make any problem. You're not using dextrose for all the drugs, only certain drugs. So it does not make any difference. Some because the patient will be in an anti-diabetic medication, sometimes they give insulin to the patient. Share guidelines, NCCN guidelines. You can check out. There's so many guidelines for different stuff. We refer different guidelines. Okay. Mostly you have NCCN guidelines regarding the treatments and all. And for pharmacy people, you will have, there's no specific guidelines. You will have to check what is the chemotherapy order sheet guideline. You want something, you have to go and check multiple guidelines of different countries, and you will have your own thing where you can choose how to do it. See, you are here, you have adverse drug reaction, suspected ADR form. There's something called initial case, follow-up case. In oncology, most of the cases are follow-up case adverse drug. So different country has different reporting system. Ma'am, can you show the consent form for chemotherapy? Sure, dear. Wait, I'll show it to you. Wait, give me a second. See, this is the chemotherapy consent form. Here you have date, everything, the treatment details, the protocol, route of administration, frequency, how many days you will give, how many cycles you will give, whether the intent is curative, adjuvant, neoadjuvant, palliative, salvage, concurrent, others. See here everywhere, no guarantees about the outcome. So you will have to explain all this. The nature, purpose of the treatment of proposed to administer. What are the adverse effects of chemotherapy? What are the long-term effects of our chemotherapy? What is the effects on sperms and egg? What is the other information? What medications they'll be given? Everything is there here. And about the confidentiality, you will have to obtain the signature from this patient. Okay, the patient attender and all this. This is how a chemotherapy consent form will look. So all the points explained. So how the chemotherapy will be given? See, you can see here may require venipuncture, putting a needle into a remove blood or administer. So there may be infection to the bloodstream. So all this, everything you will explain. Okay. Any doubts, guys? Any material for reference? See, there is, Devita textbook. Regarding drugs, you will have to read about, patient information leaflets. And you see how do you prepare? You may ask me, ma'am, how do you understand about like chemotherapy? You ask me like some material. I didn't had any such material with me. I've been reading based on the adverse effects that patient will face through the drug. I used to design myself the leaflets and explain them with experience. That's how I started teaching you people through my expertise and experience. But I didn't have any documents or books as such with me. As of now, I've been reading guidelines and making up this stuff. I can show you something if you people want to see. Wait. If I could find the document, I'll show it to you guys. 1 second, guys. I'm just searching for the document. Excuse me. See, I didn't find this anywhere, but I've made it for myself regarding lenalidomide, how the general instructions, is all that you'll have to take care for an lenalidomide. What is the class? What is the indication, mechanism of action in a simpler language for a patient information, block development of new blood vessels, kill or stop the growth of cancer cells, help the immune system attack or destroy cancer cells, how to administer, give it with a steroid dexamethasone. Give it, so I'll ensure that when the doctor ensures lenalidomide or pomalidomide for a patient in the dish, summary dexamethasone is added along with that. So it can be taken with or without, but skip the dose. The next dose of administration less than 12 hours. Greater than 3 loose stools, advised to contact physician. Maintain oral hygiene. So these all I read about the drugs and I've made it for myself. I didn't find this in anything. So that's how you do with practice. Any other doubts, guys? Now you can unmute and you can ask me. What? Sardar, I didn't get, ma'am. If any post onco patient with secondary relapse and renal impairment and renal dysfunction with low EGFR, anti-cancer drugs causing natural, can we be prescribed? No, obviously you will not do it. You will have an indication and contraindication. If a patient with a certain EGFR cannot be given, he will not be prescribed with any anti-cancer drugs. Guys, did you understand the class? Did I meet the expectations that you were asking me during the starting of the class? If you want to know about more therapies and regarding oncology, you can open my LinkedIn profile and read through the post. You'll get lots and lots of information. If you could, if you could find my class better, you can review it on LinkedIn under the post of the class. What you have, I want you to post, in LinkedIn, what you have learned from my class, what that you don't know before my class, and what you have learned after the class. That would be well appreciated when you give it in the feedback form. How it helped you and how it that you want for future classes. And you have any doubts, you can ask me, guys. Your views on choosing this field as CP in oncology from your experience. I'm learning every day something new and happy. Yes. When there is everyday same boring story is not, happy to work. When you learn something new is very happy to work. I just want you guys to post what you have learned in the class. Okay. You have any other doubts, you can unmute your mics and also ask me, or you can post in the chat box, or you want to know something else. It's good to work in an oncology, family thesis, yes, but it has to be a well-defined, clean protocol wherein which you need a lot of information, but you should not be a complex thing. You should choose something related to drugs. Okay, guys, if you don't have any doubts, I'll close. I will log out. Choose or pursue on this field such as oncology clinical research. Yes. It depends on your hospital show up and how much you are permitted. Yeah, you can work in trials, but you should have a background knowledge of oncology and its basics. Any other guys? Come on fast. Your questions. You can even unmute and ask me. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, then. Thank you, Samriddhi. If you have any doubts, you can post in the group, guys. Good night. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking this session. And before you guys log out, please fill in the feedback form that has already been shared once again. Just reminding you all. Thank you so much, ma'am.
एक मिनट बाबा, एक मिनट। फीडबैक फॉर्म। नहीं बना है सब्जी, टाइम लगता है, नहीं उठाया है। मैं जा रही हूँ।